Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my review of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The show wrapped up this past Friday, and so it is review time. I thought the show was pretty good with some fun action. I'll admit I wasn't as invested each week as I was with WandaVision, but we'll save that for the review. If you don't know how my reviews work, I'll be going through recapping each episode, so spoilers ahead. I will then rate the episodes and rate the three major categories at the end, that being story, music, and CGI/visuals, and then averaging everything together to get our final score before placing it among my MCU rankings. Let's get into this. Episode 1 kicked off by giving us some more insight into what happened to the world post-Endgame. We see that Sam has decided to hand over the shield to the government authorities, where he believes it will be placed into the Captain America Memorial Museum. It's unclear what exactly happened to Old Man Steve, but we learn that Sam has been working very closely with the Air Force, and we get to watch as he meets an old enemy of Cap's, Georges Batroc, aka Batroc the Leaper. We are also introduced to Joaquin Torres, a close Air Force friend of Sam's. Meanwhile, we watch as Bucky gets some therapy lessons and continues to have nightmares as he tries to get justice for the bad things he's done. We also see some of Sam's family, and we learn that they are having some financial issues with the family boat, and the episode ends by giving us our first look at the new Captain America, John Walker. The episode establishes our characters well, but ultimately I felt that this was just context for the rest of the series, and this could have been condensed into a much shorter episode or tacked onto the first half of episode 2. This episode gets a 7.2. Episode 2 shows us John Walker's motivation as a person and gives us some backstory to his character. Bucky and Sam finally reunite, and Bucky tries to tell him that giving up the shield wasn't the right move. Bucky and Sam also work together to try and figure out who's behind these super soldiers that were spotted recently in the previous episode. They discover that some vaccines were stolen and head out to stop the Flag Smashers, where they are intercepted by John Walker and Lamar Hoskins' Battlestar. Bucky and Sam refuse to help the new Cap and head out on their own. Bucky reveals to Sam that there was another super soldier, Isaiah Bradley, who had a lot of bad things happen to him in his lifetime, and he begins to set in the racial undertones for the rest of the series. Bucky and Sam head to therapy before heading off on their own once more and refusing to help John Walker. This was a great episode that really started putting things into place for some of the later and larger impacts on the story. The episode gets an 8.9. Episode 3 kicked off by showing John's darker side and showing us the flaws in him that the true Cap never had. Bucky helps break Zemo out of prison rather easily, and he helps them locate the super soldier serum by making their way to Madripoor, where they continuously hear the name Power Broker. The gang also reunites with Sharon Carter the episode, who seems to be doing pretty well for someone who was snapped away. It's next that they locate the man who's been creating the serum, and Zemo kills him, trying to end the super soldier serum program for good. At the very end of this episode, Bucky finds himself confronted by Ayo, a member of the Dora Milaje, who wants to bring Zemo to justice under the Wakandan Eye. This is another amazing episode with great character continuities for Zemo and some rather mysterious ones for Sharon. This episode gets a 9.5. Before we get to the second half of the video, I just wanted to remind you guys to subscribe. It helps the channel a lot, and likes are always appreciated as they let me know which videos I should make more of. Hit the bell icon to get notified when my next movie review gets released, but let's get back to the video. Episode 4 begins to take a dark turn for the series. We begin by seeing the training Bucky was put through by the Wakandans while he was rehabilitating and getting all the Hydra implanted programming out of his head. Zemo once again helps Sam and Bucky to locate the Flag Smashers, where they bump into John and Lamar. Sam tells them to wait outside while he goes to speak with the leader of the Flag Smashers, Carly Morgenthau. Walker grows impatient and barges in, allowing Carly to escape. Zemo destroys the remaining super soldier serum, or so he thought. John finds the last remaining vial and takes it for himself. Following this, the Dora Milaje take care of John Walker before noticing Zemo has escaped. Lamar tells John that if he had the opportunity to take the serum, he certainly would. Once again, Sam and Bucky bump into John and Lamar while confronting Carly, but this time Carly delivers a fatal blow to Lamar, ending his life and sending John into a field of rage. It's in this rage that he kills one of the Flag Smashers with his shield as dozens of scared faces watch. This episode was beautiful and had some of the best character development yet, setting more stones for the final 2 episodes. This episode gets a 9.1. And episode 5 picks up right off where episode 4 left, as Bucky and Sam confront John, who appears to be losing his mind. Walker destroys Sam's wings, and the shield is back in possession of Falcon. After this, we watch as Sam hands over the broken wings to Torres, setting up the next Falcon in the MCU. Walker is forced to step down as Captain America after the incident from the last episode, and is confronted by Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. more commonly known as the comics as Madam Hydra or Viper. Bucky confronts Zemo and threatens to kill him before letting the bullets out of the chamber and finding his peace with Zemo as the villain is dragged away by the Dora Milaje. Sam goes back to talk with Isaiah Bradley as he tries to give him the shield, but Bradley refuses, saying his time is long gone and the country didn't have respect for him now, and now it is time for him to have his peace and quiet. Isaiah tells Sam that there is no place in the world for a black Captain America, but Sam seems determined to prove him otherwise. Back at the boat, Sam comes up with a solution for it. He and his sister enlist the help of the community as many people arrive with different tools and items to do their part and help out. This includes Bucky, who gives Sam a mysterious case with something made by the Wakandans. Sam and Bucky train with the shield, and we see Sam's progression as he gets better and better. We also learn that Carly has enlisted the help of Batroc to stop Falcon and the Winter Soldier from messing with their plans. Sam decides it's finally time to open the case, and we get our first credit scene as we see John Walker constructing his own shield. This was another amazing episode and so much character work. While the episode lacks in action and excitement, it makes up for it in well-written dialogue. This episode earns itself a 9.4. And lastly, episode 6, the finale, One World, One People, kicks off as the Flag Smashers make an attempt to stop the Global Repatriation Council from signing a bill. We get the first look at Sam's new Captain America suit, and I must say, it looks fantastic. Lots of fighting between Sam and Batroc, Carly and Bucky, and John and Carly. John is confronted with a choice as he must choose to hunt down Carly or save a bus full of people. John takes the noble approach as he makes to save the people. Sharon and Carly find themselves at a stalemate when Sharon reveals that she is in fact the power broker. Big surprise, woohoo! My original theory for Sharon was that she was going to be a Skrull based on her sudden change in character, but as we'll talk about later, it appears to be something deeper. Sharon then kills Carly and the Flag Smashers are apprehended. The truck carrying the Flag Smashers explodes, killing those inside, and we watch as Zemo rests peacefully. Madam Hydra informs the Walkers about this as John walks out of the dressing room to reveal his brand new outfit, and Madam Hydra gives him the name U.S. Agent. Sam then goes to speak with Isaiah again and tells him he has something to show him. He brings Isaiah to the Captain America Museum, where he reveals that an exhibit was built in Isaiah Bradley's honor. Bucky, Sam, and everyone else celebrate on the boat, and we get the final title card revealing the name for the show, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Lastly, we get the credit scene where the government allows Sharon in her old field. She then makes a call informing someone that they now have access to a whole database worth of government secrets. Now, why was this the credit scene and not something a little more exciting, such as the reveal of U.S. Agent? Well, as for U.S. Agent, we know that Madam Hydra was meant to be set up in Black Widow, which is why it was a bit of a strange introduction in the show. My theory is that in Black Widow, we're going to hear about how Everett Ross is putting together a team of Thunderbolts, and that this signals the recruitment of U.S. Agent. Now, as for Sharon, I don't know if there was meant to be more to this, considering there were cut storylines from the show, such as a virus. Perhaps something more important was supposed to happen with Sharon. One way or another, that's what we got. And only time will tell when we will see her again. The final episode wasn't bad. We had some cool moments, and so the final episode earns itself a 9. So let's get into our final 3 ratings. We'll start off with music. I think the music for the show was mediocre. The music worked well, but personally I don't think anything stood out too much. It was some basic action music, but nothing too memorable. So the music's gonna get a 7.6. As for the visuals and CGI, of course, this was a much more grounded show compared to something like WandaVision, so we had a lot less CGI for what it was, but it was very good. As for visuals, I don't think there was anything ridiculously special here other than Falcon, John, and Bucky. There's no real colorful outfits to look at or cool-looking villains, and the rest of the scenery just feels basic. As it should, though, considering this does take place in regular environments like cities. So the visuals get a solid 8. And lastly, the story. This is such a hard thing to give a score to because I love the stuff with Isaiah Bradley. John Walker's arc was fantastic, and everything involving that was awesome. As for the Flag Smashers, it was like the complete opposite. Due to the cuts I mentioned earlier, their scenes really just felt pieced together and very weak. It's very unclear what their motivations are, and it's really hard to like them as villains or characters in general. I'd love to give the show a better score considering how well some of the story was done, but because of the Flag Smashers stuff, unfortunately, it's going to get a 6.7. But with all of that said, the second entry into MCU's Phase 4 and the second ever Disney Plus show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, earns itself an 8.3. Now, among my MCU rankings, I am going to place it at number 8, just above Captain Marvel, just below Spider-Man Far From Home. But with that, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on the show and my review in the comments down below. And if you want some more pop culture content, go follow my Instagram at JerryTheKing1223 and follow my wrestling Instagram, JerryProWrestling. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.